Tonight we speak again to John Odermatt, Senior Gold Ambassador for Plexus Worldwide, a voice of the Lions of Liberty, the Finding Freedom podcast, and most recently a purveyor of online coffee company, Run Your Mouth Coffee. So many things happening with business or small businesses, exciting news about gut health and how the immune system helps fight the coronavirus and many other ailments. And I'm forging full stream with my marketing plan of good old-fashioned canvassing the neighborhood, and Plexus Worldwide has brand new product rollout and new incentives going into February and exclusive group events only happening with Team Taylor. Welcome to the Epitomized Stomach podcast. I'm brucemagee, and I'm glad that you are here with me today on the podcast, first podcast of 2021. There is John Odermatt over on the other side. Say hi, John. How you doing?
Great to be back. Thanks for having me back on, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It's so fun doing these podcasts and being alive. 2021 is actually going pretty great for me. Maybe not so great for other people because we have to reflect on what's going on with the lockdowns and the overall mental and physical health that things that have been going on with people, whether you have been successful with your resolutions or unsuccessful with your resolutions. As a matter of fact, the name of the show today is Resolution Solutions, and but perhaps you got that COVID muffin top that you have, or just your muffin top that you had just got bigger, or you might be furloughed, you might be laid off, you might be remote working, and the ends aren't making the means meet, and the means keep getting further out. Because the reason why you actually tuned in tonight is because we deserve better. We deserve better, and we have the tools to combat the lifestyle that we're living and get into the lifestyle that we want. Because some of us are in a lifestyle that we don't necessarily like, and we're reaching out for something and somebody to give us some advice on how to change that lifestyle. So we all deserve a chance to make our lives more abundant and successful, and we find ourselves reaching out for information, opportunity, and stories of success, and a map on how to get there. And we're here today to make the change. And we're here today because you were curious enough to hit that play button on that video, or you subscribe to the audio podcast, which is on anchor.fm. You can find the In the Pit of Your Stomach podcast exclusively on anchor.fm and every podcatcher that you can go on out there. But we're here today to make the change, and we're here today because we're here today to change your life. Okay. And my guest here today, he's here today to change your life. And the show is here to change your life. And I just want to welcome again back to the show is John Odermatt, man. I really thank you for being here again, man. I've been following you, for the better part of a year now. You are actually my upline in Plexus, and I'm getting started again, man. I'm starting to chug. I'm starting to get that fire again under me, and it's really exciting to go through these things. I know I kind of went over the top this weekend with some things that I was going on. I'm actually going to start canvassing my neighborhood with some flyers that I had made through one of the websites, and it's got my picture on it, and it's got my whole rhetoric that I go through for Plexus. It's really exciting, man, and I know that you guys are excelling. And how's it going for you over there with Plexus Worldwide?
Yeah, I mean it's exciting times just to have 2020 behind us. Turn the page on a new year, and I'm not a big New Year's resolution guy. I am a big believer that you can change your life, you can change your health, you can change your job, you can change anything at any point in time, just making the decision. So I'm excited for 2021. And like you said, you were talking about some new products with Plexus. They came out with a face wash, and there's another new product coming out next month in February, which hoping it has something to do with immunity, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see what it is. We'll be talking about immunity tonight, though, because probiotics and gut health in general, so important, so vital to overall immunity, and tying into fighting off everything from the common cold to allergies, all the way to COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because my testimony has to do with, number one, you getting me into the product, of course, probably about, I think it's been since May or something like that. It's been 7-8 months since I've been on the product. And basically, the health benefits, as far as I'm concerned, have been astounding. I mean, you talked me into this only because of the fact that I wanted to do a 30-day trial and test this product that you had, and it was either going to be either make or break it for me. And by the end of the 30 days, I was feeling some comfort from acid reflux that I've had all my life. And, it has since subsided. I mean, it is a great feeling to be able to sleep at night. It's a great feeling to know that I'm healthier. I am actually healthier. I feel healthier. I feel more energetic. I feel as good as I've ever been. And I think that I told you about a week ago or something like that I hadn't slept. I actually did a purposeful slip, and I stopped taking the Plexus. It started out with I missed my Slim, a day or so, and I went like, oh crap, I missed my Slim, and then all of a sudden I missed my bio cleanse. And but I never missed my probiotic because Tracy brings me that every night before I go to bed. She's my little pill popper. She gives it to me. But I was missing two of the important ingredients of the triplex system that me and you both use. And let me tell you, for about a week there, or I missed it for probably accidentally for about 2 days, purposely for about a week. And then I'll tell you what, if that's the way that I felt before I was on the product, I don't ever want to feel that way again, because believe me, I reverted back to some habits that I didn't necessarily like. My cravings came back for sugar, and I had a little bit of indigestion. And let me tell you, it was. I never want to feel that way again. I don't know if you've had any similar experiences with that, but like I said, I don't want to do it.
Well, I haven't. I've been taking the Plexus Gut Health combo for almost 4 years now. I think like 3.5 years, something like that. And honestly, other than I've missed maybe taking my Slim a handful of times. I've been really consistent with my products. It's something I take very, very seriously. But the one thing that I have missed, and I also notice it when my wife misses it for a day or two, it's an additional probiotic we take, the Plexus cells, called Vital Biome,
Right.
which it's a targeted blend of, I think it's 8 different probiotic strains, 7 billion CFUs, culture forming units. And it targets the stressors. It targets that anxiety feeling that you get. And honestly, if my wife misses it for 2 or 3 days, or like there's been times when something happens with your order, you forget to order it, or the postal service is late delivering stuff, that happens more than we'll like to we would like it to, obviously. But miss it for 2 days or 3 days, I'll notice it with my wife like that, because she just starts getting a little more stressed out, and she'll notice it in me too. And
Right.
it's funny because I used to take this I took it for about a year, the Vital Biome, and then I was feeling great, so I just stopped. And a few months into that, I just noticed, it's not that I have anger or had anger issues, but things would just really get to me, on just a unreasonable level when I look back at it in my mind. But it's probably common for most people to deal with it. For example, I used to get so angry when I'll be walking in my car and I'll have something in my left hand, and it's probably happened to everybody listening here. And you go to get your car keys out, you're like, which pocket? And of course, you got to switch between your hand. Why is this happening? And you start yelling at yourself.
Right.
And it sounds crazy to say this, but when that happens now, I'm just oh, okay, well. It sounds insane to say that, but honestly, that, I feel it's a little bit just more chill. I mean, it's hard to put in words.
Yeah, and these are all the benefits that we really don't think about when we think about our gut health, when we think about vitamins in general, when we think about anything that really helps us out in our wellness life. You are first. I'm not going to say you're the first one, but my sister-in-law was actually the first one that was actually turning me on to probiotics. I shoved it off. My wife started taking them, and she was reaping some of the benefits of it, but I kind of shoved it off until I found you. And when you convinced me to go ahead and give the product a try, I had no idea what I was missing out on. And I still have not tried Vital Biome. I'm still ripping into my rewards, and that's one of the first things that I'm going to start getting on that. And I'm going to get a couple other things out of the not the nerve, but the ease. We need some more ease. The ease is a fantastic product. Let me tell you right now. I like the ease lotion. I haven't tried the ease tablets yet, but the ease lotion just, I put it on this one finger that I have arthritis on, and believe me, it's gone. Takes it right away, and that's within a matter of like an hour. And maybe even less than that. It's these amazing products that we have are just unbelievable. I haven't tried the face wash. I do want to try that face wash. So I don't know if you have firsthand knowledge of it, but if you have any review on it, I'd love to hear about it. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried it. I mean, I guess I'm not a. I mean, I like any product that's healthy. I mean, number one, it doesn't have any chemicals, any of that stuff. It's good for your skin microbiome. But I'm not going to lie. It's hard for me to get really excited about a face wash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, look at that baby face you got right there. So, I mean, how can you be bad with that baby? See, I got an old, wrinkled, 60-year-old face. I need some help, man. I get out here into big old vitamin D so much, man. So I gotta start taking care of this face. But no, I'm one of those people who has an oily skin problem and stuff like that. I'm looking for some kind of solution that maybe a cleanser like that will take care of. I've been through a range of soaps and stuff like that, and I'm trying to steer myself more towards plant-based products. In the wellness category, not necessarily in my food, because I'm not a vegetarian, so I love my meat and potatoes. So
yeah,
we're
me
not going to
too.
go with a plant-based steak anytime soon for me.
Yeah, just had steak for dinner right before this thing.
Fantastic. I love it, man. So anytime I can get my incisors and my bicuspids on a piece of steak, I love it to death, man. So anyway, so tell us more about this gut bacteria versus COVID-19, because I've been researching it. You've been posting it. I think I've posted a couple of items on it. We've been talking about it for months. I mean, I think me and you hit on this thing probably on our first podcast that we did way back, and over the months since I've been taking probiotics and plant-based supplements, I've been going like, yeah, this is what's happening. This is why our immune system reacts the way it is. And like I said, everybody, the news is just catching up, or they just didn't want to admit it, months back. But now they're coming out with these studies that are saying, hey, your gut bacteria has a lot to do with what's going on with all kinds of illnesses that we have, and COVID-19 and our immune system, and how our immune system reacts to that is really important. And if you can touch on that a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, this one study that we're going to talk about here, it's from reading it from the Medical News Today. And when you talk about studies, there's the laboratory studies that are either done in test tubes or are done in simulated environments, or done on mice, things like that. This one is done, they're taking actual samples from humans. So this one was in Hong Kong, and they were taking stool samples and blood samples from 100 people who tested positive for COVID, and comparing that against individuals prior to the pandemic started. And what they did is, what the study showed is it showed the individuals who had tested positive for COVID-19 had certain bacteria in their gut microbiome that showed up in those stool samples that either led to a worse form of COVID, or maybe even just led to them getting COVID in the first place. I mean, that's that's really not determined by this study. But from the samples, the people that did not have, actually, to continue with the people who had COVID, so they had these higher concentrations of certain bacteria, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the names of these of bacteria associated with things like IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, and they had lower amounts of bacterias of good culture forming units. I'm not going to try to say those names either because they're all very long. I don't want to embarrass myself. You can read them yourself. I'm sure Bruce will link to the study. But and one of the things they talk about is the thing with COVID-19, or let's just, I guess to say it properly, the thing with, so COVID-19 is the disease that you get or you can get. Apparently not everyone gets it who is exposed or contracts SARS-CoV-2, or as some people call it, SARS remix. But so you get the COVID-19 disease, and it manifests in a disease. And what causes the main issue is the cytokine. They call it the cytokine storm, which can lead to the inflammation in the lungs and things like that. And the poor gut health and the higher number of bad bacteria, the lower number of good bacteria, can lead to this over-aggressive reaction, this cytokine storm, this inflammatory storm. So gut health is tied to inflammation. I mean, it's really common sense when you start thinking about it. Yeah. It's the same thing like they're starting to discover now, and they're doing lots of studies on it now, how almost every autoimmune disease out there has a root in the gut. And there's all these pharmaceuticals out there and medicines out there that treat the symptoms of the autoimmune disease. But not many doctors are actually going back and saying, wait, let's actually do some probiotic therapy and heal your gut and, work from the ground up, heal the, strike the root, as they say.
Right. Yeah. It's this amazing study that I was looking at too. And I just think that it's like you said, it's a common sense thing. If you put two and two together and you start thinking about, well, the healthier that I am, going into this quote pandemic that we have, the healthier I'm going to come out on the other side. And statistically, it has been apparent that is true and that is correct. And there are some of us that have been lucky, like myself. I mean, I have not gotten tested yet, but I have not felt sick since this has started. Knock on wood. I do have people. In fact, both of my next door neighbors have had COVID. One that is in the hospital right now, but she is a healthcare worker, so she was probably destined to have it. And unfortunately, I pray for her health and her healing here really soon. Hopefully, she gets out of the hospital tomorrow. She's been in for 2 weeks, but she never got intubated or anything, so that's a good thing on her part. But the whole thing is that it really starts out with your health, with your gut health. And I mean, you have convinced me. I have done the research. I have been through every paper that you have either given to me or Amy have given to me or Nicole has given to me, talking about how the gut reacts to your brain and the signals that it causes back and forth in between to make your vital organs strong, healthy, and all these things. It's just amazing that counteraction happens, and 70%, I think it's 70%, is the 70% of our immune system is handled exclusively by our gut. Yeah. So it just makes sense.
Your immune cells are in your gut. Yeah.
So it just makes sense that if you have a healthy stomach with a good flora in it and nothing bad, because I'm gone with all the yeast stuff that I've got. I've been all through that already, and I am just reaping the benefits, and you're reaping the benefits, and your whole family is reaping the benefits. And this is not just for me and you and adults and stuff like that. We even have kids products that are amazing products that help the family. I mean, it's a whole family lifestyle that we really need to get into, and they're wonderful products. And I'm here to attest to that. You can get a hold of me me, at the Independent of Your Stomach podcast. Just type in Independent of Your Stomach in the search box of your Facebook search engine. It'll take you right to the page. Ask me to get in. I'll make sure that you're not going to cause any trouble and you can join. And then I'll invite you to learn about your gut health, learn about probiotics, learn about plant-based supplements, and be involved in this podcast if you want to be.
Just to tack on real quickly, we were talking about kids taking the products, and yes, Nicole and I have a 5-year-old daughter, and one thing about that is talked about a little bit, but Ruby was born by a C-section, and one of like the most important things where a child gets like a large part of their microbiome is when they're going through the birth canal. So she wasn't exposed to that. And very, very early in her life, she, and this was right when Nicole had first started taking Plexus, I believe, around that time. And she started getting like rashes. No, I guess the first thing she did, she got like a rash around her mouth. And the doctor wanted to prescribe like a steroid cream. And Nicole said, well, I mean, would, check with the doctor. Is it okay if, we try this probiotic first? And we weren't even talking about the kids' probiotic. We're talking about, this was when Ruby was probably about 1, talking about, or maybe 18 months, maybe a little older than 1. Talking about ProBio 5, which is the same thing that, adults take, but you can just open up the capsule, and we still do it with Ruby all the time now. You just put it on a spoon and she just eats like powder, or you can mix it into something. You can mix it into their drink or whatever. And sure enough, after like 2 or 3 days, just cleared up and went away. Now she still does battle with a little bit of eczema on her wrist, especially right now when it's so cold out here. We're in Pennsylvania, right, and the air is so dry. But that has to do with, that lack of what she didn't get by being a C-section baby. And, life is different for every person, every child. There's no two guts that are the same. Everyone's is a little bit different. And another thing, like if a baby isn't breastfed, they're not, not getting the same vitamins or vitamins, nutrients, and bacteria for their gut. And that's nothing like for or against breastfeeding. There's a whole host of different reasons why or why not that doesn't happen. Not even get into that, but just to kind of stress the point that everybody of any age, needs to address their gut health. And the more studies that are done, the more that we're seeing like just how important it is for everything from, they're starting to think that it could be tie into things like autism. It's already, there's studies done on it tying into different mental disorders and things like that. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Hey, just the thing about the one graphic that you had given me one time, Nicole had shared it with me too, is about the leaky gut syndrome. That is just a scary, scary graphic just to think about, thinking about your gut being perforated the way it is and the toxins and stuff that it can just introduce into your body and the destructive stuff that can happen by having those toxins actually outside your digestive system and actually in your bloodstream or in your body cavity. It creates havoc with your body. And believe me, I'm one of those guys that I'm kind of in your face. You've seen my posts and stuff like that. I don't mind you showing my crinkly toes and stuff like that. But believe me, there's things that have happened to my body that haven't happened in years. And I'm going to go into this just for a minute since I brought it up. I was a skier. A snow skier for a long time during my younger years. Me and my nephew, we would just wait for days like we have in California right now where the storms are, and we would hear about a storm, and probably hours before the storm hit, we try to make it up to the Sierras to make sure that we were there right before the snow hit, so the next morning that we can hit that fresh powder. Well, anybody who knows anything about cheap ski wear, which is what we usually had the most of. So I had cheap ski boots and stuff like that. And after a day of being up and down the slopes, your feet just take a pounding. I mean, they really do. Not only your body takes a pounding, but your feet actually take a pounding. And what was happening is that my toenails were just slamming up against the top of my boots a lot of times. And what would happen over time is that it would just loosen the nail bed so much that, the biggest part of my nail, my big toe, would fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And years and years and years of doing that, at least once, maybe twice a year that would happen. It would take its toll on my toes. And actually what happened after that, once I stopped, I started getting, that fungus, whatever would be. Just the toenail would come back right. It would grow in, brown or whatever. Just things weren't going right with it. And it's not a real pretty sight, but anybody who's watching Dr. Pimple Popper right now, so, I'm really light with what I'm saying. So, but when we first talked about the Plexus product, I told you that, I was having these problems with these certain things. And you said, oh, well, it could be the yeast buildup in your system, because this is one of the first things that happens when you start the triplex plan. Mm-hmm. Is that you, what is the name of it? Dabot?
Yeah. You talking about Candida?
Yeah, Candida. Yeah, Candida die-off.
Candida, what Candida is, I mean, everybody has it. We need a little bit of it. And mm-hmm. what it's like, the intent of it is it's supposed to, when we die, it helps our body to decompose. Problem is modern day diets, pollution, stress, everything that can, and I would say in a lot of people, most people, to some degree, it's out of control. So, I mean, some people can get really out of control, and to the point where, it gets up into your sinuses and all kinds of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I guess to kind of continue on that, what's different with ProBio 5, which is the probiotic that both Bruce and I take, is ProBio 5 has an enzyme, a digestive enzyme called chitosanase, which what it does is it is able to target that candida, and it actually eats away at the hard outer shell. So think of like your GI tract just being lined and gunked up with this yeast. And it's going to do a couple things. That's going to prevent your body from absorbing nutrients and things you need through that GI tract, because that's where it goes. Mm-hmm. And it's also going to prevent good bacteria, the stuff that, when there's people out there who they're taking probiotics, but if they don't treat that problem, if they don't get the weeds out, if they don't, break that stuff up, the good stuff's never going to take hold. It's like it's like a perpetual fight happening in your gut between the good and the bad bacteria, just trying to fight for space. Yep. And if you're feeding your gut the stuff that is going to feed the bad bacteria, if you're giving it sugar and all kinds of processed food and stuff like that, the bad bacteria is going to start beating down on that good bacteria.
Exactly.
So unless you start to even the playing field out, and you will notice a difference when, as Bruce is talking about, when that playing field evens out and the good bacteria overtakes.
Yeah, it's amazing. And to go on with my story is that I actually posted a picture of my toes a couple months back, and then just recently I was excited to find out that the one toe that was probably the best off. The other toe is not lagging behind, but it's coming up. It's coming up. But the one toe, I have never had that toenail back. In fact, I have never cut that toenail in 15 years. I'm serious. That's how long it's been since I've cut that toenail. It was so bad. I mean, it would crinkle off and stuff like that. I mean, we could, like I said, if you watch Dr. Pimple Popper, what I'm saying doesn't surprise you. So, but yeah, it's serious. And I used to have a real bad problem, and now that toe is like, I've never seen it so good, and I'm really excited about it. And I truly believe that it was the yeast die-off enabling me to be able to fight off that fungus and that infection or whatever was in there. And like I said, my other toe is coming back in roaring style. I can't wait till that one starts getting to the point where I can cut it and trim it, and I can have, because I like wearing sandals, dude. I live in California. I have to, probably 99% I'm in shorts and sandals. So it's nice to walk around in sandals and stuff. But a lot of times when you're wearing sandals, you go like, look at my feet. I really hate that. But yeah, I'm just so happy that, number one, I met you, John. I'm so happy, number two, that the Plexus product is working for me. And ladies and gentlemen, it can work for you. I'm telling you right now, I am living proof. John is living proof. He's got a family that's living proof. In fact, we've got customers and people that have contacted us, and they're living proof that this really works. And you can join the In the Pit of My Stomach Facebook group by typing in the Pit of My Stomach in your little Facebook search page, and you can get there. As soon as you get there and you want to be a part of this, I can introduce you to other pages and other groups that can give you much more information than I have on my group, and just give you just the whole in your face argument about plant-based supplements and probiotics. Just so great. And not only that, because we're going to get into this after we come back from break, because we got to break real quick because I got to do this on my audio podcast. So those of you that are watching live, you get to see what happens on an actual podcast when we have to cut in and do a break. So we're going to do that real quick. And on the other side, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about other things that go on with Plexus. We'll be right back.
All right.
All right, we are back, and I just had my little sip of I'm doing my pink right now because I haven't had dinner. John's in Pennsylvania. He's had his dinner already. It's only 5:30 here in sunny California. Well, actually rainy California. We're having our torrential downpours here. Ooh, we had over an inch in one day.
So they're getting some you're in Northern California, but you're by the closer towards the ocean, but they're getting some pretty intense snowfall in the mountains, right?
Yeah. And we're in one of those situations where we're having a drought right now too. So we went through a couple of years where we had like virtually no rain, and a couple of years ago we started getting some rain. It got back to normal. In fact, we were up over normal, and then we got back into what we call a La Nina that's going on right now. And La Nina, what that is this colder water that comes into the Pacific coast and it stays there. And what that does is the water's not warm, so it doesn't develop storms and stuff like that. So we have to wait later on into the year, and when that starts warming up, then we get our storms. So the normal flow. So we got what we call a La Nina, and then we got one we call El Nino. So when El Nino comes in, that's when we get all the rain. And when La Nina happens, we get this, what we have. We get brief big storms, and then they go away. So whether or not that relieves our drought, which is never going to go away because we have too many people in California, it doesn't really matter. But that's another.
Whenever I hear anyone talk about El Nino, I immediately think back to Chris Farley when he was on Saturday Night Live, and he's doing a weatherman skit, and he's talking about El Nino, and he goes, "For those of you who don't know, El Nino means the Nino."
I love Chris Farley, man. God bless his soul. Rest in peace, man. But
yeah, he was the best.
He was the best. So, hey, let's get back into a situation that we have with Plexus also, because not only Plexus offers you plant-based supplements and probiotics, they also offer you an opportunity to start a business on your own. And it's the cheapest business that I've ever found, ever, that you can start. I mean, anybody who has $100, I mean, how many people go out every weekend and spend $100 on frivolous stuff, right? I mean, I've seen this posted many times. I gone out and I bought this. It was $129, whatever. And they're not using it 2 weeks later, or whatever. And now we got a situation where people are out of work. We have a situation where small businesses are closing everywhere. Some people are furloughed. Some people got laid off. Some people are remote working, and they've got nothing but time on their hands. I can't think of a better way to spend $100 than to get into a business where you can deal face-to-face with people, phone to face, social media, whatever, and be able to not only offer them quality products, but offer them an opportunity where they can make just a little side money, or they can make big money, depending on how hard they want to work. And it's one of those situations that I'm into right now. I mean, I was touting before that that I was interested in doing a little bit more for Plexus, and because I've been kind of lagging with that over the years, or not over the years, but over the months. And what I did is I came up with this flyer, and this is one of the flyers that I'm going to be using for the foreseeable, at least this month, of what I'm going to be doing, because it's a monthly thing that I'm going to go through, and it's an experiment. And I'm going to go canvas my neighborhood on this, and see how they feel about it, and if I get any people that want to get into this. And basically it's just it's a flyer that anybody can make. I made this on Canva. It cost me like $37 to make 100 of these. They send them to me, and all I got to do is walk around my neighborhood and put them in mailboxes, and then see what happens. I mean, you can see it's very easily designed. They give you everything that you need. They give you all the fonts and all this other stuff. You get to put your picture on there, and your email address. You get to put in all kinds of stuff. It's two-sided. So I've got the back that offers you what's going on this month, and all the discounts that we have. Also another place for your picture and who you represent. And it's just it's an amazing thing that we've got going on for us. The information age is so great, man. I just love the way that those that the information age is helping us, because we be able to do that. And it was amazing to me how inexpensive it was. I really thought that if I was going to go out and do this, these flyers were going to cost me, $1 a piece, or $2 a piece, or something like that. But it wasn't. It was less than 30 cents a piece to have these things made. And for $37 for 100, how can you go wrong, right? I mean, for a good experiment to go put in mailboxes and see what kind of a response that you get, to me, it's worth every penny of it. And perhaps while I'm dropping these off, I might meet people and be able to pique their interest in it, and stuff like that. So these are little things that you can do as far as a business with Plexus. I mean, these are not things that Plexus gives you to do. You're at your own behest to do what you can do with Plexus. Plexus has some wonderful tools that you can use to help you build your business. They have an app that you can send out samples to your friends and family, or your prospects, and be able to get them interested. And they've got a whole back office, a virtual office that they give you. They give you a website. They give you all kinds of things. I can't think of any other business that for $100 you get what you can get, and get connected with people like you, John, and the team, and Team Taylor, who we're in with, that give you the support you need, every idea under the sun, the opportunity to have, John Odermatt, guy from Lions of Liberty. I'm going like, oh my gosh, this is fun. No, I'm kidding. But no, I'm serious. It's this is the easiest business that I've ever been in. And I've been in some multi-level marketing businesses before that didn't quite pan out. And this one has been incredibly easy to start. It's been incredibly easy to do things, because all I have to do is share. And it's amazing. And that's what I got.
Yeah. And I mean, you're saying $100 a month. That's including, the products you're getting too. It's really, the actual ambassador fee is a yearly fee. So you pay it once a year. So you pay it when you sign up, and that's $20. So you pay $20, and then that first month you get a big discount on they call it a welcome pack. So there's different things you can choose. One of the welcome packs is, we were talking about the triplex before. So the gut health combo, which is a great choice, but there's ones based around beauty, one's based around, overall health with our multivitamin and ease and things of that nature, and our plant-based omega, which I take that every night. But just to talk about the business for a minute, because I have a podcasting business with Lions of Liberty, have Run Your Mouth Coffee, which is a drop drop shipping coffee business. So it's roast to order. So I don't do the roasting myself. Someone else does the roasting and they take care of shipping it. But you still have to stay you still have to stay very involved with it. And, there's a lot of customer service involved. We are the customer service. We've had multiple people who, they place the order, then say, oh, I put the wrong address in. So you got to go in and change the address. You're handling all this stuff. With Plexus and the website, we had to build the website. We had to make it look pretty and put our branding on it and everything, which, I'm not saying like that's bad or anything, but that's just stuff you have to do when you're doing that. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. And you got to make sure everything works right. You have to test it. With Plexus, you get a website that works, that has all the products on it, that is backed up by tons of information. They give you a dashboard in a back office with detailed information graphics and information sheets that tell you everything that's in the product, tell you about clinical studies. There's videos from, there's a medical advisory board that Plexus has with doctors talking about these products and how they work. Videos, like Bruce said, with that Engage app, where you can just click a button and send it to someone, send them a link, they can watch the video. And it's really amazing. And then, so if you have somebody who wants a sample, click a button, send them a sample. I have somebody that says, you know what, I think I want to sign up and be an ambassador. You click a button, you send them a link, they sign up, they become an ambassador. And you could, if you want to, like Bruce is doing, like I'm doing, you can build a team of people to work with and to share these products. If you don't want to, and you just want to take the products, you can do that too. I mean, it's no one's forcing you to do anything. Like,
exactly. I have felt no pressure from you being my upline, to do anything. I mean, you share a whole bunch of ideas with me and all kinds of information, and it's at my disposal to use. I mean, nobody's forcing you or saying like, you got to do your quota today, or or you're not going to get your product this month or stuff like that. I mean, there's all kinds of network marketing systems like that they have a quota. You got to do so much per week or so much per month, or you've got to show that you have this much product that you're taking yourself and stuff. And Plexus isn't like that. I think, like I said, they've got one, and you've said this before too, is that they've got the best compensation plan out there. I mean, my product right now is practically paying for itself. I mean, really, and you get cash back even with some of the stuff that you're buying. So I mean, like I said, for $100 a month to start your own business and be able to do that, you're getting product, number one, that you get to take, and you're getting all the tools that you need to run your business. I mean, what business gives you that? No business that I know of gives you that. I mean, it's amazing. So there's another thing that Plexus will give you. And I just encourage you guys that if you're out there, you're listening either to the video, you're seeing this video podcast, or you're listening to me on anchor.fm on the End of Your Stomach podcast, I encourage you guys to take a good thought about, number one, your well-being and your wellness and your health. Number two, take a look at what you're doing financially. And if you need a little boost or something like that, what more can $100 do for you than to do what we're doing right now? It's just a fantastic thing. So I just wanted to encourage you guys to do that. I'll put my information in the show notes. Everybody's got show notes today. We've got all kinds of show notes. But the very last thing that I want to talk about with John is I want to congratulate him, number one, because him and his friend Ben has started a brand new business called, go ahead.
Run Your Mouth Coffee.
Run Your Mouth Coffee. And believe me, this coffee is fantastic. I took a chance because I really like coffee. My boss, he likes Busto something cafe or whatever, this yellow can of stuff he's got. I've been a Folgers drinker all my life out of Mr. Coffee. I actually wanted to take a black coffee challenge, but unfortunately, John, I'm not a black coffee drinker, man. I figured that out. I can't do it, but I ordered a couple of coffees from you. I'm going to order some more coffees because I want to try all the flavors. And believe me, it's wonderful coffee. I've done a couple of tests. I did a French press. I did a drip test and all kinds of things. Just tell us about Run Your Mouth Coffee and how it all came about and what you guys are doing with it.
Yeah, so like as weird as it is to say, starting an online coffee business is something I've wanted to do it for a while, even before I started podcasting, and I'm not really even sure why. I just enjoy coffee. I enjoy the whole process of coffee that you're importing. I think it has something to do with the fact that I just love how the market works so much, and you're importing beans from different parts of the world, and you're bringing them in and you're roasting them and then shipping them off. And when you're drinking coffee, you're drinking something that somebody put their labor and love into to deliver it to you. So for that, I guess for that reason, for some reason, I've always wanted to have a piece of that, to be a part of it, because I think it's an awesome thing, and everybody loves coffee. I mean, mostly everybody, 99% of people. And it's like the best part of a lot of people's day. You're like waking up, drinking your coffee, feeling energized. And with Run Your Mouth Coffee, my business partner, Ben, approached me early 2020, or maybe just as the pandemic was getting a little bit crazy. And he said, what would you think about going in together on a coffee business? And for a couple of different reasons, we noticed kind of a hole in the market that we thought that we could fill up. And we decided to build a coffee business around the idea of protecting uncensored speech and promoting uncensored speech.
Absolutely.
Without knowing what was going to happen the rest of this year. It's kind of been ridiculous to watch happen.
How ironic.
Yeah, and COVID slowed us down. I mean, slowed us down with getting our bank, slowed us down with getting our LLC approved, slowed us down with working with the coffee company we're working with, the coffee roasters. They weren't taking new partners for a little while because of COVID. And so originally we wanted to launch in the summer, but then it comes all the way back around, and we just decided to wait until the new year. Well, one of the reasons is because the coffee's roasted in California. We're going to have to pay the state of California $800. So I'm not about to start a business in December and then just give California $800. So that's, and another thing, I mean, just to come back to Plexus for a minute, you could start a Plexus business in December and have people signing up in California or be based in California. You don't have to pay that.
Nope.
So it's pretty neat. But so the coffee, what we did is through the process, we tested a bunch of different single origins, different blends, different things. And we just picked 5 that we really liked to start with. Some of them on the more mild side and kind of working their way up. And then 2 unique ones. We have a whiskey barrel aged one that the beans are, Bruce has tried that one. They're aged for 30 days in a bourbon barrel. And then, freshly roasted, just like all the other coffees. And the other, we also put a pumpkin spice on there just because, people love that. But it's been going great. I've been amazed with so many different ventures I've done with starting a podcast, and it's not always, the people you think are going to support you don't always support you, especially with the podcast. I didn't get the support I thought I was going to get, but I've been just amazed with the coffee and, talking about free speech and how important it is to get support from so many people. And it's not like support from one side of the politics or the other side. It's everybody saying yeah, that's important. That's important. So it's been really, really exciting and cool to see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the coffee. Number one, I whipped up, I bought 2 of the coffees. I bought the Speak Freely and the Rebellion beans. The Speak Freely was the one of the blends that have caramel, cocoa, and cinnamon, I think it is in it. And then the Rebellion beans is the bourbon aged one. And the first day I did it in a French press, which I've never done before. And believe me, what a difference. I was geeked out all day. The French press. It was one of those things where a French press will really bring out the caffeine in it, because it's actually, the coffee is actually soaking in water and releasing all those oils and the caffeine in it. And I found out in some of my on my research, I found out that cold brewing is actually, if you wanted to get all the caffeine out of it, stuff like that, you do a cold brew. But on Sunday, I did the same thing with both coffees again, and I did that in my Mr. Coffee. And what a stark difference between the ways of making coffee, and I'm really kind of trying to get into that coffee aficionado type deal, where I can put my pinky out when I drink it and stuff like that. But they were really, really good coffees. I want to tell you, for somebody who doesn't do beans, and I made the mistake of getting the ground stuff. I should have got the beans because I got a grinder. Next time I do my order, I'm going to be getting the whole bean so I can grind it myself. But it's really, really good coffee. I can't wait to get the other flavors just to test them out. I'm really excited about maybe getting the espresso one, which is going to be probably my next order on that. But just great. And it was excited me, number one, that it came from California.
Yeah.
And it's being done here. And yeah. And by the way, welcome to the $800.
Well, it's funny. All the different things I have my hand in. There's the coffee, the podcast, and I do some land investing, which is also in California. Right. But I'd been able to avoid that $800 fee by different avenues. But yeah, there's no way to avoid it with having a coffee roast.
Yeah, there's no way to avoid it in there. But yeah, but what a great thing, dude. I just enjoy the way that you go about your business, and you go about the things you do financially in your personal life, and in your podcast life, and everything that you do. You're just an inspiration to me, John. You really are. I wouldn't be here in front of this camera doing what I'm doing right now if you hadn't have pushed the issue and say, hey, if you hadn't have been doing the pink drink. I mean, like I said, it all started with me going like, what the hell is this pink drink, John? And actually it started before that, when I started listening to you on Felony Fridays and the Lions of Liberty podcast, which you now are doing. It's Freedom. Excuse me.
Finding
Freedom. Yeah, which is now a Thursday, or you do it on Thursdays, right?
Yeah,
so Finding Freedom is the next podcast that he's doing, and just an incredible podcast. I love it. I love all the Lions of Liberty podcasts, and if you want to go off on that a little bit, we can.
Yeah, actually, it ties in real well with entrepreneurship. This week's episode. So I had a guy on. So I don't know when this will publish, but my podcast that published today on the 28th. My guest is a guy named Cas Marte. I talked to him on Felony Friday way back in the beginning. He was one of my first guests who came on, who was a formerly incarcerated guy. Mm-hmm. And his story is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on the beginning part of his story, because we did that the first time, but he did talk about, his past as being a drug dealer. And this is a guy that, I mean, even when he was dealing drugs, being 19 years old, just had just a drive to not stop. He just wanted to be successful, And he talks about like just not wanting to waste any time, brushing his teeth in the street so he didn't have to go, so he didn't have to leave his spot where he was selling drugs, which is, I mean, he's selling drugs. That's not a good thing, but that drive went, he took that with him into legal ventures later in life. And this is a guy, he went into prison and he was 70 pounds overweight. Doctors telling him that, he's going to die young if he doesn't do something about his health and his weight. Lost 70 pounds in prison, started teaching other prisoners how to lose weight with workouts, gets out of prison, and he starts working out in the park. He just starts going up to random people in the park saying, hey, you want to work out? Hey, you want to learn how to do a workout with me? Starts just impromptu boot camps in the park. Parlays that into a fitness studio business called ComBody, he's in New York City, and it's blowing up. And then I'm talking about the pandemic with him, and I ask him, so what happened with the pandemic? Like, did business, I'm sure it just dropped off for you? And he's like, actually, business is better than ever. Because immediately when the pandemic hit, he just set up his iPhone in his studio and started recording his workout, streaming it out. And then, of course, since then, he's upped his game, gotten better cameras. But I mean, the guy he just pivots just like that. And I mean, just to see that, like, that natural entrepreneurship for somebody like myself who aspires to to be that good of an entrepreneur. I mean, it's super inspiring to me.
I'll tell you what, man. If I had to drive half the people that have been on your podcast, I'd be so successful already, man. It is so it's just inspirational on a bunch of the things that I hear from the podcast. I mean, from Mark to Brian to you. I mean, like I said, I listen faithfully to all your guys' podcast, and now I'm doing my own podcast. I mean, I've got this podcast, which is In the Pit of Your Stomach. I just retired the Weathered Soul podcast because of lack of listenership, and it just had its run. I mean, I told myself that I was going to give myself 100 shows. It did have an apex, and it went down. So I mean, on to bigger and better things. So me and Dougie are starting a podcast next Monday, which is going to be more of on a local flavor. We've got some guests slated up that are actually going to be talking about what goes on things locally, but actually on a community level, they reach out nationwide, and that's kind of the way that we're going. And because we want to kind of pair some of the politics up, but actually get the community-based stuff that happens all over the United States and all over the world, for that fact, to be able to get the community-based into getting involved, and instead of having the government having to intervene every time, to make sure that everything gets done correctly or whatever. Because to me, we just don't need that. I think we can do it better ourselves, and that's just the way things are. But man, John, thank you, man. I really appreciate you for being on this podcast. Why don't you go ahead and plug a couple things before we end it up, and then we'll just call it a night. And like I said, man, this has just been a great time with you. Go ahead and plug.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back on. And if anyone, first of all, if you have questions about gut health, about Plexus, reach out to either Bruce or I, and let us know that you heard about it here, because this is Bruce's podcast. So we want to direct you to Bruce, but I'll answer your questions. But Run Your Mouth Coffee, you can buy coffee there at rymcoffee.com. I'll set up a discount code for listeners of this show, and we'll just do it. We'll just call it Stomach. That'll be the promo code. Stomach. There you go. The
promo code Stomach,
and that'll get you 10% off. So
fantastic.
Promo code Stomach, 10% off. And Lions of Liberty, you can find Finding Freedom or the other shows that we have there with Mark and Brian, just by punching Lions of Liberty podcast into your little podcasting app, and it'll pop up, and you can listen to us there. What else? I guess that's everything. Twitter and Instagram, I'm just at John Odermatt, and you'll notice if you follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, I get a little more aggressive and political on Twitter.
Yeah, me too. You know me. I've pared down my Facebook persona quite a bit lately, and I've transferred that over to Twitter. Twitter is so much more fun to do that with. So
Twitter's it's just like the Wild West.
It's the Wild West, and I really appreciate it. And I enjoy reading you. I enjoy reading everybody else. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning into the In the Pit of My Stomach podcast. You can get us on YouTube every Thursday night. We're going to be doing a live with different guests and different shows. I do all kinds of different things so we can talk about Plexus for the most part. I'm going to be talking about Plexus, plant-based supplements, and probiotics. But I'm also going to have other entrepreneurs on here. We'll be talking about financial situations and how to get out of them, debt relief, all kinds of things that I have kind of a passion for, that just lands in the pit of your stomach. And that's the namesake of this program. All the show notes are going to be under there for the Run Your Mouth Coffee. You're going to have the promo code in there, Stomach. It's going to be great. We're just going to have a good time. And like I said, thank you again, John, for being here. And I can't wait till next time I have you on. Maybe I'll have the girls on next time, and we'll start talking about girly stuff and all the stuff that we have in the ladies' night, and get the ladies involved again. But I want to thank you again. This is Bruce McGee from the In the Pit of Your Soul podcast, or In the Pit of Your Stomach podcast. Sam, reverting back to Weathered Soul.
That's the fusion.
That's the fusion of the things. But anyway, we want to thank you very much for being here, and I will see you next Thursday. Have a great week. Goodbye.